Hey YouTube, West Texas Prepper. I'm going to bring you a little bit of a gear review. Yesterday, Saturday, I was out doing my pool work and got rained out for about 2 hours. And so when things like that happen, what I do is I go look around at local stores, some places that sell camping, prepping stuff, and go around and look and see what I can find, if they've got any good deals. A couple places I really like to go. One is P.A.C.E Sports. They typically run some good deals on a lot of their backpacking, camping gear, which can also be used for prepping. And I'd been in there. I was in there probably a month ago and saw they had a good deal on some stoves. And one of the things that I'm in the process of doing is going through my gear, getting everything updated. Back when I first got into prepping, I just had myself to worry about. And so a lot of my preps, a lot of the gear that I have was focused on more for myself than anybody else. And that was pretty much all I was worried about. So when in my mindset I was just prepping for one. Well, now I have a family of 6. It's my wife, 4 kids, and myself. And so having gotten back into never really have left prepping, but just not staying up to date like I need to. Part of that, being in school, having family, those things tend to take a back seat sometimes, and I realize that that is not the case. But at the time, because of circumstances, that is just what had happened. And I've made a vow to myself that that was not going to be the case anymore. And so what I'm in the process of doing, if you've watched some of my previous videos, I had all my gear scattered not only at the house, but I had it in some storage areas or storage units, and I'm trying to consolidate that. If you go back and watch a video last Labor Day in 2012, my mother-in-law has a RV building at her property. And I asked her, because I was running my pool business out of another shop, plus a couple of storage units, I asked her if I could come in and clean it out because her husband had passed away, if I could use the shop for storage and also to run my shop out of. And she said, sure. So Labor Day weekend, I did exactly that. I labored over the weekend and cleaned out a 45 by 55 roughly shop. Actually had a roll-off dumpster that we had to dump twice, sold a bunch of stuff, kept a lot of things that I'm still in the process of going through almost a year later. Got all my gear moved in, my pool business set back up. I'm still not satisfied with the way things are set up, and I'm still working on it, but that's just part of the issue when you have 2 jobs. A lot of you know that I teach high school, and so I have that to contend with during the year, and in the summer my pool business kicks off, so I don't have just all the time in the world, plus we have some other projects in the works as well. So long story short, I'm in the process of going through gear, seeing where I am short, and one of the areas where I'm short now that we have a family of 6 is looking at cooking equipment. I do have Coleman stoves, which we use for camping and things like that I'll bring some videos on what kind of gear that we use. But in my philosophy that I've always had, 1 is none, 2 is 1, and in my case, with a family as large as mine is, sometimes you need 3, 4, and 5 of things just to make sure that you're covered and taken care of. That being said, one of the things that happened Saturday is I was at P.A.C.E Sports, and they had a sale on stove, fuel, and cook set. Retail price on that, if you can see that, was $49.99. They actually had it marked down to $30, which is a pretty good deal. I'm not familiar with these type of stoves. I have an older model that's similar to this that I've used before. That's pretty cool. And picked up some fuel to go with it. This was my kit that I had in my bug out bag. It was aluminum. One of the things that I'm looking at going to is moving to stainless steel. I know You know, people talk about the leaching out of aluminum and things like that, and part of the problems that that causes. Of course, you know, I don't cook on this stuff every day. I think this set I've probably used less than 30 days. It's getting close to 30 years old. I have this kit and a couple other kits, but this set I would safely say that I have used less than 45 times. So the amount of aluminum that I've gotten in my body, probably get more just from drinking out of cans and things like that. But this is a pretty cool kit. Has sort of a plate, pan with a handle. It's real good. Comes with a pot, and then inside of this pot I had a mini type stove. That was pretty cool. What happens here, this screws into the base like that. That goes on the top. Burner goes in, and you're set up and good to go. Fuel canister. It uses a Jerry brand can. I haven't had a chance to look for these. I fired this one up about 2 or 3 weeks ago. Still works. Sort of like, you know, airing up basketball. Need to wet the needle, slide it in there, turn it on, and it's good to go. But that was my kit, and so I am in the process of getting things updated. These are pretty good kits. I pulled one out in the store, so I picked up 2 of them for the price. One of the things that they had going on is they actually had this stove under a different brand, and then this canister of gas, and it was under a different brand. I think High Tech. I'd have to go back and look, but it was a name that I was sort of familiar with camping gear that I've seen before. So, you know, one manufacturer is manufacturing these type of stoves for various people out there, and they're putting their labels and things on it. But it was almost identical to this, but they were wanting almost $40 for that stove, and it just came with the stove and the gas. It didn't have a kit. But this one, like I said, I really haven't looked at this, so you're sort of looking at this as I am. Comes with a nice little stuff sack, mesh, which you could probably use for other things in certain type of situation. You know, putting stuff in there, rinsing off in a stream. These are polished aluminum handles on there. They seem pretty sturdy. You get a small one, and it gives you the size on this. This one is a 0.65 liter pan, which is pretty good size. And then inside, hey, they give you a scrub brush. That's worth the price of the kit right there, right? They give you a scrub brush. They also give you another little bag that the stove comes in. Anodized aluminum. This was the only difference that I noticed on the stove with that other brand. Their lighter was white or gray instead of this red. And so it does come with a lighter on here. Probably can't see that, but we're going to see if this fires up here pretty quick and go from there. But the little legs fold out. Okay, has your adjustment over here on the side. I've never used this type before, so we'll see what happens. And then inside the bigger canister, it comes with the gas can. Okay, and this is a 4-ounce can, and then this size pot is a 0.9 liter pot. All right. So, and it does have markings on the inside, 0.75 liters. So I guess all the way up to the top is going to be your 0.95. But all that just nests together, and I really do like that. So we'll on this, pull the tab off. These are self-sealing, which I really like. It was actually on. These are self-sealing, so you can unscrew that, it'll seal back up, and go from there. So we're going to fire this bad boy up, and we'll see what happens here. Look at that, first time. It's a little windy out here. I've got the doors open on the shop. I don't know if you can see that or not, but the flame fired right up. You can probably hear it. So it's got a good, yeah, you can see some flame there in the camera. But it looks like it's got good. Good adjustment on it, which I really like. I use a whisper light for my backpacking stove. That's what I went to when I was doing a lot of backpacking. And that whisper light was real nice, man. You could really control it and do what you needed to do there. But this is putting off some heat. Wind's blowing around quite a bit. So and I'll turn off and we'll let that cool off. But pick 2 of those up. I was looking at just getting some stoves, then buying some separate stainless steel cookware. This is a little bit different aluminum. I think it's going to be fine. These are the types of stoves that will go in our bug out stuff and probably will not get used that much. Which is that the intention. We want to have some stuff that we can fall back on if we need to. There is a series, and I'll annotate that down here in the bottom. It's called P.A.C.E, and I don't know if anybody's familiar with that or not. And I'll see if I can remember. It talks about primary, ancillary, can't remember what the C is, and then E is for emergency. And they talk about having redundancies 4 steps deep. And so this is going to give us some more redundancy. We have Coleman stoves, have a whisper light stove, we have the other little stove, and now we've got these stoves. So we have plenty of ways that we can go in and prepare meals and do some things like that. So I'm pretty pleased with this. I wouldn't want to do a lot of cooking on these. That's why I have the Coleman stoves, just because of the size. But if we did have to bug out, if we did have to do something, this would be something that we would have in a kit, and at least we could boil some water and make up a meal. And I have some another video coming up on some meal stuff that I ordered. I'm waiting for that to come in the next week or so. And some deals for you viewers out there, those of you that are looking at going in and updating some of your food, some of your freeze-dried stuff and things like that. I've already done a review on it. It's Wise, and I'll annotate that down there at the bottom too, and put a link in for you to go and watch that video about their food preps. And I've got a good deal for you if you do order, and I'll have that information in that video as well. But overall, I'm pretty impressed with this kit. Like I said, I picked up 2 of them, picked up some extra fuel cells. I don't know how well this will fit. Probably fit okay. These are the larger. These are 7.5 ounce compared to the smaller one, and I think they would fit in there just fine. But I went ahead and picked up some extras, and I'll probably wind up picking up some more of these just to have with some other cooking stuff. Once I get everything organized this summer, I'll come back with a video and show you what I have cooking wise for our family. That way, in those types of situations, grid down, those type of emergency situations where you're having to rely on other cooking things than typically what you're used to. But I appreciate you watching YouTube. Thanks a lot. This was West Texas Prepper. We'll come back with some other videos later on. Do what you can with what you have, where you're at.